they say that we would like to thank our advisor, Marie-Christina Kasingirwa, who, despite the schedule that she has, she decided to come and be with us. We also thank Estella for coming to share with us something on our topic today, innovating together, bridging gender gap in STEM through collaborative technology. So the topic that she's going to talk about is similar to this one and is in the same line. We thank you for accepting to come and share with us your ideas. Particularly, RAWISE members, thank you for valuing today. I know it is a work day, but you got time to come and network with the peers. Another thing that I want to start with is also to thank no RAWISE member who are going to share with us the foundings, and also we are going to interest you to come and be RAWISE members. So I welcome you to the 4th RAWISE Symposium, and it is both an honor and a privilege to stand before you today as the president of RAWISE and welcome you all for this significant gathering of minds, innovators, as well change makers. Because if it wasn't for you, we couldn't be here. So let's enjoy the moment. Today, we come together, as I mentioned, to discuss under the theme, as you can see, innovative together, bridging the gender gap in STEM through collaborative technologies. And this is a topic which is close to our hearts because you know that the Vision 50, even the NSST2, is really focusing on technology. So we really need to be more innovative in whatever we do, and we have to move to digital era so that we can move fast with the change that we are having. So this theme today embodies our shared commitment to harnessing the power of collaboration and innovation to address the persisting gender disparities in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We know that there is gender disparities, and let us discuss about it. Yes, we have come so far because before the way we were doing with STEM, something has changed, but we are not happy because we are not 50-50. Since our establishment, now I'm going to talk a little bit about RAWISE. We established RAWISE in 2015, and we were around 25 members, and our commitment was to inspire, empower, and elevate women in STEM. You can see our mission there. You can see our objective there and our motto here. So that is what RAWISE is about. Through mentorship program, capacity building, initiative, and advocacy, we have seen remarkable progress. As I was saying, however, the journey is far from over. So we are still progressing. So RAWISE is now around, made by around 200 members. As you can see, we have few members here, but we have others online. And I also greet people online, and we are welcome to RAWISE. I know we are going to be together the whole day, and some presentations are going to be done online. And I think we have done a lot of things through mentorship, through capacity building, and also outreach activities. And we are glad that we are also having to share what we are doing as RAWISE member and non-RAWISE members. This symposium serves as a platform to celebrate achievement, because we are celebrating achievement, and confront challenges. You know, in a society, we are always having challenges. So we are going to discuss on those challenges and how to get solution. Yes, there are challenges, but how are we getting the solution to those challenges? And chart new pathway toward inclusivity and excellence in STEM. So that is our role. Over the course of today, we will witness insightful keynote speech by Stella, We are also going to have our opening remarks by Dr. Christine. Again, we are going to have groundbreaking research presentation through talk presentation and poster presentation. And we are going to have different networking opportunities. This session not only highlights the incredible contribution of Rwandan women in STEM, but also equip us with the tool to create future where gender is no longer a barrier to innovation and leadership. I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to you all, those who are going to present, and I want also to thank all your efforts to make it today. I would like also to thank the organizers, because without the team of the event organization department of RAWISE, we couldn't have this event. My heartfelt goes to Ludivine. She's new at RAWISE, but she grabbed everything. Now you can see, even we can see that she's really doing a good job. Thank you, Ludivine, for your good job. Another thank goes to the people who did the review of the abstract submitted, the scientific committee. The scientific committee was led by Madame Clementine. She's not around, she's in South Africa, but she has done an amazing job together with Jennifer, Eva, Sages, and others. Really, you did a good job, and now we have something to listen to. I would like also to thank everyone, as I said, and let us enjoy this moment. Your presence here is a testament to the power of collaboration and promise of what we can achieve when we work together. I encourage each of you to take full advantage of this day. Engage in meaningful dialogue, forge new connection, and be inspired by wealth of knowledge of experience around you. Let us live here not only empowered, but also committed to driving change in our respective fields and commitments. Once again, I welcome you to the 4th RAWISE Symposium. Together, let us innovate, collaborate, and break barriers. Thank you so much.
Together, let us innovate, collaborate, and break barriers. Thank you so much, Chantal. That was a very nice speech. We really thank you for your leadership and for all the efforts you put for RAWISE to thrive the way we are, and also to inspire and impact the young generation. Thank you so much. So next, we'd like to welcome Dr. Marie-Christine Gasinjirwa, the advisor for RAWISE. She's also going to give an opening remarks. So you're most welcome.
Thank you very much, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Are you there? Let me see the people who are not here. Those who are not here. You are listening after all. Because if you are not here, of course, you will not be able to raise your hand. Okay. It's with great pleasure that I always find myself in front of RAWISE, because you are my pride. Wherever I go, you have become part of my vocabulary. Any opportunity I seize, I go around. Are you aware of what RAWISE are? And then you go on to explain. So this particular moment, we are not all here, but I know others who are online technologically, but whose ears and brains are working to contribute to the motives or to the aims of RAWISE. So this morning, I'm not going to speak in Russian or speak new language or no, the usual. Mu Kinyarwanda baca umugani ngo aryohasubiwemo. My role here is to emphasize what has been mentioned by the two ladies, the president and vice president, because by those words, we are where we are, and it gives us direction, because it is possible. For example, for the purpose of this symposium, okay, like in a concept note of saying what we started, we started something almost vague, but with the time we have acquired the direction. We have sharpened our ambitions because we know it is achievable. So it is in connection with this, therefore, that this symposium now is here to test. Have we achieved what we started having in mind? So this is why I have put it like this. How do you show or prove that we have achieved the above that you mentioned? And these above I'm talking about are to empower women, promote women participation, foster research-driven, all these big words. But with this, I'm talking with pride, knowing that this year alone, the harvest was very, very, very amusing, very encouraging, because you had 10, I think precisely 9 PhD ladies who graduated in STEM subject. I think it deserves a clap. So it shows it is achievable. What matters is to have the heart and the determination to reach your goal. And this has happened. So because of this, therefore, how do we show that we have proved this? Okay? Today we shall be showcasing, those are the same words that we mentioned, the contribution of women and women in STEM. Sure, that harvest is a testament of the achievement. And not only that, let me tell you, outside there are youngsters in secondary school, and those who say, oh, we shall come, we shall come, we shall make it, because you are the beacon holder. They know it is achievable after all. So, then strengthen capacities, because once we meet, we discuss, because one of the greatest achievements I have seen in RAWISE is the willingness to share. You talk, you listen, because through talking you present what you have achieved. You are talking to the audience that is listening. They want to see what more can they add, what more can they benefit from you as a role model. So from this, we are able to strengthen each other, and then strengthen capacities. And where we realize we've got gaps, like it is indicated here, we think of how to bridge them and then move forward. Because through your sacrifice in terms of time, you are building bridges to cross these gaps that are separating us. Another one, therefore, in the process, will be fostering dialogues and collaborations. Because through collaboration, you are able to move ahead, move further, get wider audience, get wide application of the theories that we're talking about through, let me repeat it, through policies that are evidence-based. And I'm sure and I'm happy to find that most of our ladies, those, of course, PhD, you are involved in research. So what you're talking about is not a dream, it is an achieved reality, a dream come true. So in the process, therefore, we foster collaboration. That is why, for example, here, I believe, we're not only for RAWISE members here, but we want to promote collaboration between academia, industry, and not only these, all the NGOs that can support us, and then also that we can help to enlighten in the process. So in the process, therefore, how do we achieve what we mentioned above? We provide a platform like this one, a platform, come and talk and share. And something, boast, because when you boast what you have achieved, you can pat yourself on the back because you have reached there after all. It's not just wishful thinking, but is no muhigoesheje. So to provide a platform for professional development, mentorship, networking, women scientists and engineers. I am impressed most. I think this the last 2 months alone, there are two of our ladies who got recognition abroad from the achievement in mining. Not so. What is the name so that those who didn't read that, who was this lady? Is she here? Wherever, I think she deserves a clap from us. Because it shows it is achievable. Because those days, when you are young, I think those days we used to, a long time ago, the mundani, let me put in the Kinyarwanda, mundani, gwinkwavu, gatumba, hara habagabo. But now we've got ladies who supervise, not only by chance, but because they are qualified. Not because anybody picked them and favored them, no, because they have diversified interests. They meet in the need for development in different sectors, or women are doing very well. So we've got engineers, we've got scientists, we've got very many categories are there. And these are the role models for the youngsters behind. And then, therefore, once we have achieved this, let's celebrate the achievements of our RAWISE members and motivate young female students towards STEM careers. Because you say, once upon a time there was, there is. Because you are there, you will motivate them. Perhaps some are children, some may be your brothers, sisters. By the way, we are not only motivating us, even boys, because it is a whole family. That whole family needs to support each other to be able to make it. So that is in connection with this then. Such gathering has brought us here. I know the day is very packed. It was supposed to be spread over 2 days, but the fact that it's being compacted in 1 day, let me not spend so much time talking, but let's see what you have done. Let's have time to say you've made it so that we celebrate. So in the process, therefore, what are those being a stumbling block? Normally it would be grant proposal writing.
Knowledge to also impact others and inspire others. So now we're going to welcome the keynote speaker, Murungi Stella. I said she's the Chief Digital Officer from the Ministry of Justice. Maybe she's going to give more introduction about herself. She's going to talk about women at the forefront of technological innovation. And you can see the theme of today, or for this symposium, it's Innovating Together, Bridging Gender Gaps in STEM through Collaborative Technologies. I hope we are going to get more. So clap for her as she comes in front.
So, good morning. Good morning. Great. Now, at least I feel the collaboration and the support. So, yeah, so the keynote, normally, it's full of speech, well-curated speech, right? But I think I'll do differently because we are women and we speak from the heart, right? And we speak from our experiences. And I think that's how I would love, if you agree, to conduct the keynote in that manner, right? So, but first and foremost, good morning once again, ladies and gentlemen that are supporting us here in the room. It shows that we still need the men amongst us. And I hope they're listening, not just doing the background work, right? So thank you so much. I would like to really thank the organizers. So for me, I read it as RAWISE, like wise. People are wise, you know, the women are wise. So instead of RAWISE, for me, I read it as RAWISE. So I would like to really thank Jennifer, who reached out to me. And of course, the Rwandan Association for Women in Science and Engineering for organizing such an amazing event. I think we need such events quarterly, like every quarter, to be able to attract so many young girls and women to participate in this journey, and also be part of the innovation and technological strides that the entire world is looking at. So now, thanking the organizers, because it's not really a very easy job to put together everything. I know what it takes. So I'll really, really thank you for that. Now, looking at the theme of the day, and maybe before I do that, Jennifer had asked me to introduce more about myself. As mentioned, my name is Estella Murungi, and I'm the Chief Digital Officer for the Justice sector. So not just the Ministry of Justice, but the entire sector of justice. So you look at RIB, police, judges, so the judiciary, prosecution, you look at the Rwanda Correction Services, so RSCS, you look at the Ombudsman, you look at all these big guys, right? And then Stella here, a woman, is put in charge to make sure that the digital transformation of this sector is at par with the national strategies. So you can imagine, right? Imagine you as a woman. You see, here we're now women. I feel some warmth. But sometimes I'm in rooms where it's just men, and not just men, but men with ranks. Yeah, and that's why I really want to speak from experience and see what RAWISE is doing is really very fundamental. And also what Dr. Christine is also pushing for, and all the women in this room, it's really fundamental. So you're in a room full of men with ranks. Everyone is, yes, 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 sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. You're just there, okay. For me, I'm here to do my job. And it takes courage to challenge such men, right? Because if you come off as our culture, where mwitonde, rwose mwubaha abantu, ntimuvuge cyane, ntacyaja imbere, ntago byakora, ntago byakunda, akazi kakunanira. However, what I'm trying to say is, however much you need to stand up and do your job excellently, because men of ranks, they have a certain discipline, right? So they have discipline, they have order, they have everything. So meaning if you work in such an environment, you have to be even extra disciplined, excellent, you deliver quality work, and you're competent. So meaning, in our journey, of course, it started from a young age, right? Where you now have peer pressure of so many women, and young girls rather, who are like, you know, math physique. For us, you know, went to school when it's still math physique. And I see we're all almost in the same age group, some of us, so it's okay. But where you have this peer pressure of, no, we can't go into math physique. However, for you, you have a different outlook on life. And you prefer, you know, math, physics, you prefer numbers, you prefer formulas and all that. And you prefer diagrams more than words. So then you have a tendency, but you're also doing well in class, right? So then it takes really the people around you to motivate you, to inspire you. And that's what exactly we should do as women. Because back then, I didn't have the women who were backing me. I didn't have the women to tell me, hey, you can do it. No, it took actually my teacher, who is a man, to be like, but Stella, don't go with the crowd. You can do this. I can see you can do this. So just don't listen or look at all your friends, but pursue what I see that you can do. And in fact, I think that's why it goes that way, so that we are part of the role models, right? Because if I'm not there, if Jennifer is not there, if Dr. Christine is not there, if you are not there, then what about the other young girls? Who will motivate them, who will mentor them, right? And who will be in those rooms of men, a room full of men with ranks, and you're the only woman. And if I didn't take that step, what would happen? There would be just the men, right? And now it's not even 2, 3, 4 women in the room. No, it's just you. So you understand what we are up against as women. And I think such events, such missions that RAWISE has, and all the corresponding actors that are in the room, we really have to take this very seriously, in my understanding. So, furthermore, so I really want to speak from experience, and I think you've also experienced the same. But we will pick some things that we need to do along the way. Tangible things that we need to do along the way. So now, this is now in the leadership part. Okay? Now, you have a team. So I lead a team maybe of 20, 25 staff. And for the past 3 years, I was the only woman in that team. So I had to make sure, and every recruitment, that's where now our challenge is. How do we make sure that we change this challenge that has been there for many, many years? So, and this is recent, so I think I joined in 2021. So the past 3 years, I was the only one in the team. And we would do recruitments, nothing. Women would come maybe 3 or 2, but still, I'm also a woman of integrity. We need competence. I think Dr. Christine talked about it. It's not by accident or in a way. No, you need to really earn it. You need to be competent, excellent at what you're doing. For it, when you come in the team, then you are actually contributing and being part of the change, right? So, and I really tried my best. And Lord, lo and behold, now I have 2 other women. I think we need a clap, you know? I've been suffering alone. And I think most of you face the same. So now we are 3 in that big pool of men and all the work that we need to do. So meaning this journey is still hard. And we need to take that harder journey with resolve. So now, that is meaning in the workplace, the journey. I didn't tell you about my journey in Germany, because then I went to study in Germany. In German, muchidaji. Kandi nari mvuye hano nkuze, so kista, I guess. But then you have to go in a different country and learn or study engineering in a different language, right? And you have to sit for the exams, 3-hour exams, in a different language. You've just learned in 1 year. So I think either Marie or Dr. Christine or Jennifer talked about it. It is doable. It is hard, but it's doable. So meaning, even against the odds in a different country, in a foreign country, still, we would find ourselves maybe 1 or 2 women in a class of 200. Because for them, they have big auditoriums, even here in Kisto or other universities they do, or you are. So you find still there's the lack. But then, I think even in the concept note, it was mentioned how the numbers are declining. And I think that's where our research, the scientific research, but also a part of the mission, we need to do our research of why really women or young girls are not going through. Because they're big in numbers in the younger stages. But then upper, they drop out or they discontinue that. So either it's peer pressure, it's the parents not really, encouraging them, or even resources that are available for them, or mentors that are available. So there's a lot that we still need to do, but I think we can do it. And from the policy level, of course, we have a woman who is the Minister of ICT and Innovation. This is very, very good for the young girls that see her on TV, that follow her everywhere, because I think she has done a good job. She doesn't hide behind the scenes, right? You will see her out there, and she's looking good. Because sometimes people think you have to look bad, ramshackled, because you're in technology. No, you can still have brains, you can still look good, you can still be articulate enough. And that's what we need to tell the young girls and women. Also the confidence. I think for us to really take up the space, we need to be very, very confident. And not a confidence that is that's full of pride or agasuzuguro. No, you can still be respectful, right? Confident, brave, and be excellent at what you do. At the same time, it is really possible. So what I'm trying to say is, yes, we know we are few, right, in this STEM. Yes, we know there are challenges. Yes, we know that there are many hurdles that will make us feel like we're discouraged. For example, RAWISE, I think sometimes they sit there like, but why are we even doing this sometimes? Because it's hard. But I think we shouldn't stop. We should actually strengthen and collaborate, like they mentioned previously, with new resolve. You know how the new year starts and you're like, yes, I'm going to the gym, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. But I think we need to put more effort in supporting organizations or associations like this. And also the young girls that are in the PhD, let's say young women who are conducting their PhD. Because sometimes women can also not be supportive of each other. And here we really, really need to support each other. Because I can see the difference between how I was leading without the two women and how now leading the team has become bearable. Because there are women around me, right? So without maybe going on and on, it's just to say practically, what can we do, right? Practically, I think RAWISE having such an association is a very good step forward. Having mentors actively knowing how, like for example, I should be mentoring maybe like 20 young girls, but no one has come. And I have not sought out because of the busyness of life, right? But I think we have to be intentional about it, right? How do we purposely mentor young girls and also quantify it? In a year, how many have I mentored? It is a purpose and a responsibility, right? So I think we need to, it's more of a call to action. Individually, what are you doing to advance this mission? And I think for me, what I'm taking out is, okay, now that the load has decreased at work, I'm able to take on girls that I can mentor. So if you know any girl, please send them to me, but smart ones. Yes, because we need to really encourage them. So another call to action is really to participate, let's say in such spaces, to participate and be excellent at what you do. Because now, people will not look at you just as a woman, but as a human being that is contributing to the society. Because I think that's what now they see. And also not shy away, because we tend to also shy away from it. So the other thing is also, in this day and age of artificial intelligence, where representation even of Africans is less, and now women must be at the forefront of technological innovation. So we must. It's not we should, or we may, or we will. We must be at the forefront of technological innovation in this day and age of emerging technologies, especially in artificial intelligence. So wherever they say artificial intelligence, the PhD researchers, women should be represented so that we represent a whole demography of people. So, and take up leadership roles, because sometimes we say no to the leadership roles because it's hard. Yes, it's hard. But I think if we are not taking up space, then what will our young girls, sisters, cousins do? So I would want to end by saying maybe one more thing that I have taken upon myself, saying, okay, what can I contribute? So recently I wrote a book, a children's book between the ages of 3 to 6 about STEM. So the book is out, And maybe I'll sign one copy and leave it to Jennifer to give it to someone who they think would really, who has kids who want to encourage their child to join the STEM subjects about robotics. And I think for me, that's a tangible contribution. If a child in Nyabihu, in Gakenye, has that book, or here in Kigali, they'll look at it and like, so there's a girl who's actually on the journey about technology and about robots and her friends. So that's something that I can say practically I'm doing. And also being able to stand in the space of everyone while I'm in such rooms full of men. So I call upon everyone to do the same. You might not write a book, you might do something else, but it's to really search deeper within ourselves, and we can really. It's just very challenging, but we can do it at the end of the day. Now, I would like to end by the quote that I really like so much, and it's about the illiterate of the future or the 21st century are not those who can't write and read, right? But those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. So we need to unlearn anything that is not advancing us. We need to learn new things that advance us and relearn what is really contributing to our lives, be it professionally or personally. So thank you so much for this wonderful time with you. And I hope we had a great exchange together. And yes, let's collaborate, innovate, and take on the world and be part of the change. Thank you so much.
So I think Stella deserves another clap. Can you clap again? Thank you so much, Stella. I would really love to thank you for your time, even giving us just these few minutes to talk to us. We really appreciate that, and we welcome you to join us many times. And another thing, you're also eligible for RAWISE. So anytime you want to be a member, you can simply apply. I know there are other CDOs, female, and I once talked to Josephine, and she was like, oh, I'll talk to the CDOs, like they need to join RAWISE. So would love to have you as IT people, and you keep sharing your experience, you keep sharing your challenges, opportunities, and all that. I'm really impressed by the book you said you wrote about STEM. I think that's a very, very big contribution, and we really need to write more and more, because we talk, but if we write, then we leave something which will be there for a long time, and anyone can read it at any time. So I think that's really good. And I also love the quote that you ended with about learn and relearn. I think that's the best way to go. Another thing is about, I was touched when I heard of how you're leading a very big team that has male and you're the only female. I'm like, many people here are working in male-dominated fields. I included. I remember I was the head of software engineering department at the Adventist University of Central Africa, and I was leading a team of male, and there was just one female. So sometimes they would want to challenge you, like they feel like, can this person really lead us? Like you are in a technical field, and they feel like they are so superior, they're the ones to lead, and then they're like, can she lead us? I think I was even the youngest, if I remember. So what I did, I just had to show them, like, I have the confidence, I have the knowledge, I have everything that it can take to lead. And I love that you said being excellent at what we do. Like nothing can beat deliverables. If you can deliver, even if someone can look at you like, oh, she can't deliver just by judging you the way you look like, but then when you start doing the job, leading and taking actions and making decisions, they're like, wow, so we made a mistake. She's the right person. So if we would all be like that, have that confidence and, have more skills, that would be good. So I'm really happy that RAWISE is doing that, because apart from mentoring the young ones and going for those outreaches at school, we also mentor one another. We also build capacity of the members. giving them soft skills, technical skills, grant writing skills, and all those skills. So RAWISE is really doing that, and yeah, we're really happy for that. So we will have a photo before we take break. We go for tea break, but before we have we take the photo, I think I will call again Stella to come, and then if you have some questions that you want to ask or you have comments, you can ask her. This is your chance. So you're most welcome. But before she comes, let me make sure there is someone who wants to ask. So feel free to raise up your hand. If you have a comment, question. No one? Okay. Comment? No one? Okay, that's okay. But I think Stella is still with us. So if you want to ask her maybe in private, you can ask her. She's here, especially for people who are in tech sector. I think you really need her. Yeah, so thank you so much. Thank you so much. Everything was clear. Yeah. So I would like to first call our guests. So I would like to call the other tables here or up there. So where do they pass? I think there and there. Yes, so let me first call upon you, your table. You stand up there. Maybe the photographers can guide us how they can stand. And after, other people can also go behind them. The heads of departments who are here, Eva, I can see you. Suggest I can see you, and others. So, yeah. And everyone, not only, everyone can go in front there and take a picture. Ariko, let's first have that one picture for them, and then others can join. Yes. So others are online. You can see who? Oh, okay. So others are online. Those people who are online, I don't know. Yeah, so thank you all. So next on the program, we are going to have coffee break out there. So we are going to use very few minutes for the coffee break. We're going to use 15 minutes, not more than that, because we really have a packed program. We have many presentations after the tea break. So let's use our time well. So maybe another thing I can say is that after the tea break, we are going to have oral presentation for the women researchers. So we have the judges there, 3 judges, who will be judging the presentations. And it's not just about judging. We are going to give them constructive feedback. We're going to give them comments, what they can improve, because that's why we are here. RAWISE, we are there to support one another so that we can all be good, whether in research or in our career and all that. So make sure when they are presenting, you pay attention, give them comments, ask them questions. This will help them improve their research. So we have a moderator for the presentation after tea break, Anne-Marie. So she's going to take over from there. So thank you so much for being a nice audience.
This graph is really showing you is the type of data that we get to do this kind of analysis. Apologies. So the type of data that we get is on people that have been suspected of having the disease. So that would be the graph that the box you see on my side. And then we have people that get confirmed. So this is confirmed in the lab. That would be the middle box. And then we have people that are confirmed negative. That is the other box that is on that side. So what this means is, the reason why I'm explaining this is because on the next slide you will see, as you can see, the way we see the number of cases per week, the number is fluctuating a lot. And in terms of epidemiology, we do not expect a disease to have like 100 people today, and then you have 50 tomorrow, and then the next day you have 200. This is mostly due, that fluctuation is not due by how the disease is spreading, but sometimes it's due by how we are actually collecting the information and how we are capturing people that actually have the disease. So this brings a lot of variability of the data, and also it will explain why we have variability in the results that we get. And this is the data that we use. So now moving on to the model finally. So the model that we use is the deterministic model. In this model, we use a compartmental model. And we have 3 different populations in the model. We consider a group just for children that are between 0 and 17 years old. And then for the group of adults, we divided it into 2. A population for those that are at very high risk of transmitting the disease. So in South Kivu, it was shown that initially the disease was mostly spread by sexual workers. So these people were documented as sexual workers, and that information is available in the data. And then we have another group of low-risk adults, which are the normal population, people that are not working in hospitals, not sexual workers, not in prison. Part of the assumptions that we have in the model is that we are not considering any natural demographic in terms of like birth and natural deaths or even migration. And then people move from one compartment to the next following kind of an average parameter that would be called incubation, infectious period, etc. We will see that on the next slide. Next slide. So the second thing that we define in the in the model is our intervention. So as I mentioned before, we have two types of intervention. We are looking at vaccination of people that are at risk of getting the disease. And we are also looking at isolation, which is something we do once someone is confirmed to be having the disease. So the idea is to look now, using the model to look at when we define different strategies for vaccination and isolation, how is that affecting the spread of the disease? Next slide. So this is our model. I'm only showing the schematic of the model, mostly because if we understand this, then the equations would basically be following what we have on the graph. So you can see we have 3 different kind of like groups. So each group has a layer of the first one on top is for high-risk adults. The second in the middle, the second group is for children, and then the one on the bottom is for low-risk adults. And what the boxes are really about here, when we do this kind of modeling, is basically, I want to say black box, but it's a box in which we consider that everyone within that box is non-distinguishable to someone who is also in that box. So we are not looking at individual people, but just the population as a whole. Once you're at a given stage, how do you move to the next stage without looking at a single person? And then the progression rate from one box to the next, starting with the one with S, for all of them is the one that starts with the line with 4 boxes. So that's the group of susceptible. These are the people that are at risk of getting the disease. Once you are exposed, when you meet someone who actually has a disease, then you get exposed. You move from S to the next box, which is E. And then after a certain period, you become infectious, and then you would move to the box that is I in English. So that's number 3 in red. And then from there, you can either be isolated if there are any intervention being done. Could be from the hospital or yourself, because you are self-conscious. That will be the Q that we have on top. And then you can recover as well, and then you move to the last box in the corner. So we have another box for 2 compartments that is on top, so that's the vaccination box. In our model, we are assuming that only children can be vaccinated, and only population, adults with high risk of transmission can be vaccinated. This is because the idea is we want to target vaccination on people that are vulnerable, mostly, and on people that have a high risk of transmitting the disease. Because if you have few vaccines, you want to use them wisely. What we have on the, so the equation that we have, sorry, can we go back on that slide? The equation that we have on the other side, so every parameter we have in this model is an average of how people are progressing from one box to the next. They are all actual numbers except 2 of them. One is the force of infection. So this is, I'm only giving the equation for children, but it's really the same or similar to what we have for adults. This is the parameter lambda. It is the one that is defining how people move from S to E. So basically from the first box blue, the blue one to the red. And then the second one, that is not an actual number, is a function, is the vaccination function. This was defined using what we call the Heaviside function, which is kind of like a switch to put on and off a given behavior. So when it's off, we get 0 and we say we are not vaccinating. When it's on, we put 1, and then it means at that period we are vaccinating. And in this function, f of t that you see, the h is the Heaviside function, and the u is the control that now determine when we vaccinate, how many people are we vaccinating? What is the percentage of people we are vaccinating for a given group? Next slide. Next slide. Yeah, thank you, that one. So the methodology that we use for estimating the parameter, we first estimated the parameter using what we call the least square. It's a very popular method. Anyone who does statistical math knows how it works. It's basically looking at the difference between what you are predicting and the real value, and then minimizing that. And then we estimated all the parameters in the model using that method. And the values that we got are the ones that we set now as parameters for the second method that we use, which is Bayesian, where instead of now using the data to estimate the parameter, we are saying we want to look at the likelihood of the data to be coming from a given set of parameters that we have, to be explaining the parameters that we have. And then we need, when we use Bayesian, we need to set the priors. And we only estimated 6 parameters using the Bayesian method. And for those 6 parameters, the prior that we use is the uniform prior for the parameters in which we didn't really know what was going on before. And then we use the normal distribution for the parameter for which we really knew more or less what the values should be. For the sampling, so we use the MCMC, Hamiltonian Monte Carlo method, and we use 4 different change and 2000 iteration. On the next slide, you will see a little bit more of what that means. So basically what we're doing using the Bayesian is you're estimating the same, you are sampling the parameter space multiple times. So by having 4 chain, it means we are doing it 4 different independent time. And the graphs that you see on the bottom are basically showing us the distribution of the parameters that we are getting. This is distribution we get for each parameter. So because we are using 4 chain, we are doing it 4 times. So we get 4 different distribution. And in the table, and the mean are the values that we get. Can I have the next slide, please? Perfect. So once we have estimated the parameter, looking at those, the previous distribution give us an idea of whether the fit is well done or not, and whether also the sampling was free graph. So we do that for all free graph. So we do that for all the free population, and the model was doing very well in capturing what we have in the past. And then, thank you, please stop there. And then now that we kind of feel the model is doing okay, it's time to say, okay, now using this model that seems to be able to replicate what is in the reality we have in the data, can we try to see if we define different scenarios for vaccination, how that's going to affect that prediction of number of cases that we would have. So this is what now we have on the screen. We have done that for multiple scenarios. So the one that you have on the screen is for if you only vaccinate adults that are at high risk of transmission, and you have 3 graphs. The first one on top is the number of infected cases for children. The second one is the number of infected cases for high-risk adults. And then the last one is the number of infected cases for low-risk adults. So the idea is by vaccinating only one group population, you're still going to have an impact in reducing the number of cases in all the population groups. So that's what we are seeing. We have different scenarios in terms of intensity of vaccination. These are different lines. And then the no vaccination is the first line that you see on top in black. And then the table is giving us the values in terms of what we call the reduction percentage, where we look at the difference between the true number and the reduction, and then divided by the true number of cases. And that gives us an indication of how much did we avert in terms of cases. So we have done this for like multiple scenarios. Just to give you an overview, if we can go to the last graph of that, it should be green. Previous one. Okay, so we have done this for multiple scenarios. Again, I'm not going to talk about all of them, but this would be the best scenario for the cases we have looked at if we were to vaccinate both children and adults and have isolation. But this is not looking at anything like cost effectiveness. If we start thinking about the cost of vaccination and the cost of the vaccine, then focusing on high-risk population alone would be more cost effective in terms of how much we are reducing the number of vaccination. Conclusion. So this is what I just said, roughly. But basically, the next thing, the thing that we need to also think about, which we have not shown, is now when we look at all these different strategies, and instead of just looking at the number of reduction in terms of number of cases, we also look at other variables or parameters for epidemiology, such as the number of adverted deaths that are due to the disease. That's something that we have been working on, even if I'm not showing. And then the last, I think, slide on current focus, yes, is what we are currently working on now is instead of looking at different scenarios by picking actual values, we have done a global sensitivity analysis to identify the parameters that are the most important or in changing the key outcome factors. The outcome factors that we are looking at include things like the peak of the disease, how big it is and small, number of deaths, the reproduction number, for those that know what that means, how many people one person who is infected can infect, etc. And then the last thing we want to look at is now looking at the different other vaccination scenarios and alternative strategies so that we can advise people from the health decision makers in DRC that we are currently working on this project. I think that's all. The next slide is the team I have been working on with this, and then we have collaborators from all over the world. Thank you so much. The end.
Thank you, Eugeneza. Let's clap for Eugeneza for a nice presentation. I think before you go maybe to sit, we have to ask her questions. If you have any question, we have just 3 minutes for questions. Yes, Jennifer?
Yeah, so thank you so much, Eva, for the good presentation. So I have just 2 questions. The first one is, did you check with other people who have done the same research and how best is yours as compared to them? So I mean, if you have other people who have done the same research, so you can tell us and then try to compare their results with yours, and then you tell us how best yours is. And then the second one is about, you used the least square and Bayesian, yeah? So I would like to know, how did you choose this? Did you try to compare with others, or how did you come up with this one rather than coming up with other different ones? Thank you.
Another question?
Should I answer or wait for the next?
Maybe, yeah, just wait just for another one.
There's one here.
Okay, thank you so much, Eva, for the nice presentation. My question is about how you preferred choosing the case study of South Kivu of DRC, because we have realized that the mpox also reached in Rwanda as our country. Why didn't you prefer looking at the case around our country and communicate data and findings to Rwanda to solve the people's life? Thank you.
You can answer these 3 questions and I'll give you another one.
So for question, let me start with the last one. The reason why we started with DRC is because we were actually approached by people on the ground because they needed support. So the Epidemic Response Lab at AIMS, which is a newly established lab, and we are still building it, is really trying to do that, to see how do we support policymakers with math to help them make better decisions. So they provided the data, and then we have been working with them to make sure that the model we are defining is actually realistic and representative of the real world that they live in. So why not Rwanda? We have been in contact recently with RBC. You know, in Rwanda, mpox has not been as bad as it had been in DRC, but we have approached them, we have shown them what we have been doing, and we hope we will be able to also work with RBC on developing a model for Rwanda. Again, the model would depend, it would change depending on what clade is actually circulating in this country. I don't know yet. So in DRC, South Kivu, it's only one clade 1B, but with the second you move to a different location and you change the strain, then you need to now maybe include things like a population for wild animal, etc. So we hope to do that. We have not done it yet, but it is in the pipeline. Comparison to others. Thank you, Jennifer. I think this is a good question. There have been a few studies on mpox, actually a lot. A lot of the studies on mpox, especially in the West, in Europe, in America, etc., are really looking at mpox that is mostly spreading through sexual transmission, so clade 2, and it's mostly spreading in the population of men that have sex with men. So these would be the people that are most affected. And if you remember when we're talking about before we changed the name about monkeypox, I think a year and a half ago, it was really, the idea was this is a sexually transmitted disease, which is true to an extent, depending on the clade that we are looking at. So there have been a lot of studies of that. There have been a few studies on clade 1, which is mostly looking at how wild animals are transmitting mpox to human. These studies were mostly have been on Central Africa, West Africa, etc., including even in, I think they had not been studied in DRC. But again, clade 1B is very new. It's from 2024. So this one is not known yet, and there have not been studies looking at it yet. So our study is one of the first. It's the first that I know so far that was separating adults in two categories, high risk and low risk, and that had data to do that. There have been a few simulations, but people that didn't have the data to actually estimate parameter for South Kivu. And then your last question, I think, is about the method. So when we look at estimating parameters for any model being in statistic or mathematical modeling, the main two methods, and the ones I'm aware of, is usually to use like the frequency square or the Bayesian world. And then these two would be based, basically one on least square, the other one would be based on MCMC or some other method of the same type. So basically we use both. I would say the most popular. They could be other that I don't know. I don't know. Brigitte?
I think
any other method?
we can stop for questions. We have that time for questions because we don't have time, please. Maybe you can give one to our guests.
I have many, but I will try to. Yes, so I wanted to ask, first of all, thank you for the great presentation. So I wanted to ask you about, on the data perspective, how was the data collected, right? And also when it comes to where is it stored, what's the privacy around it, the protection of the data, because I saw certain individuals, so around data, because it's also a very big topic that is around. Now, I think now the other part was, did you employ other technology like AI when it comes to prediction, or if you're planning to? Also, the other part I saw on the graphs, I don't know if it's because we can't see properly, but the graphs seem similar for all the groups when it comes to vaccination and isolation. So the trends are the same, and why is that so? Thank you.
Starting with the last question, yes, the trend is the same because we are visualizing the total number of casing over time. So whenever there is a new case, the graph goes up a little bit. So all the graphs will go up, right? What differs by how much they are going up. So no vaccination, you have this. When you vaccinate 10%, you could have this. You vaccinate 30%, you are lower. And then when you look at the x-axis, the y-axis, then the actual values are there. That would actually show you what would be the total number of cases under each type of intervention. It's just that we couldn't see the details, but the difference is really not in the shape of the graph, but the final value in terms of total number of cases. The other question on AI and data privacy, etc. So we do not use any AI in our study, mostly because of the type of modeling we were doing. But I know there are groups that have been trying to develop models for using machine learning that can that you can feed a picture and it tells you whether it's Mpox or not, to separate, the rash from Mpox to a different one. That's not the type that we have been doing yet, because on the ground they don't have the facilities to even use such a model, even if you were to develop it. We are working with policymakers. We only want to do things that we know they can use, which at the moment that is a little bit. You need internet, you need very great picture, quality picture. It is something that is not available on the ground. I think I've answered all your questions. Oh, in terms of data, the data is being collected by people from the RRC. So as I said, we are working with DPS, which is the similar version of RBC. So we are working with like the RBC of South Kivu. They do the collection of the data. We help with the cleaning, discussion about, we help set up the whole questionnaire, etc. But really the data is collected by medical doctors, RBC doctors, and then they enroll people in the study. And then they keep following them up to get more information on how the disease is progressing. So everything in terms of consent, their forms, we have ethical clearance from Rwanda, from DRC, and from somewhere in England, I think Oxford University. Thank you.
Let's clap for Ugeneza. Thank you for, I think we have used a lot of time. For next presenters, I think you have to maintain your time. Make sure you use your time effectively, because if you continue like this, we're going to finish on time. And we have another session in the evening and our meeting in the evening. So the next presenter is the Mutimukeye. She's going to present the title entitled Groundwater Storage Dynamics in the Lake Chan Basin revealed the great and the multi-sensor signal separation approach. Please make sure you use 12 minutes presentation and 3 minutes questions. When you see me standing here, make sure your time is over. Thank you so much.
Good morning again. I'm Marie Grace Mutimucheye. I'm an assistant lecturer at Rwanda Polytechnic Civil Engineering Department, but in the program of geomatics technology. I'm here to present you my published paper this year with the topic groundwater storage dynamics in the Lake Chad Basin, revealed by GRACE and multi-sensor signal separation approach. Yeah, it's GRACE. GRACE is a satellite. It's not me. Even me, I'm called GRACE too. GRACE is satellite. It's a gravity recovery and climate experiment. It's a satellite which is able to monitor groundwater storage. For presentation outlines, yes, I can continue with the introduction, background, objectives, dataset and methods, research and discussions, and the conclusion and the recommendations. By introduction, we can see together what is groundwater and where is groundwater. All of you know that groundwater is that water that we found underground. And there is total water storage, and which is composed of groundwater storage, surface water storage, and soil moisture storage. We have a problem that in almost all countries, especially in West Africa, groundwater is a problem there. It's why I tried to conduct my research there. There is a mismanagement of that water. For the background, the lake there, Lake Chad, was about to dry due to the mismanagement of that lake. But after conducting many research, this lake has been recovered, especially the southern part. You can go to the next slide. If we look at the next slide, where there is Lake Chad, the fifth one, yeah, this is the GRACE satellite, the one I was telling you, which is able to monitor groundwater storage. Yeah, it's a satellite used to monitor this groundwater and to detect if there is an increase or a decrease of that water underground. Yeah, this is the lake. The Lake Chad, how was it? You see, before it was a full lake, but slow by slow, it was about to dry, to finish. I have conducted this research in 2020, but these images, they were for 2014. If you look there, the southern part, it's the part that has a small water for the second figure there. Yes, this is how was the situation in West Africa. I was conducting my study in West Africa because to get the satellite images there was easy and the images were clear. But this time I want to conduct my research in East Africa, Great Lakes. We can continue with my research objectives. I was having my specific objectives, which were 3. To achieve these objectives, I was using a set of data sets. Continue with the data sets, where I have used satellite imagery. This GLDS model, it's a model to detect soil moisture storage, water gap model, hydrological model, in situ groundwater storage, satellite gravimetry, and satellite imagery. Yeah, these are set of images of data that I have used during this research. Continue with the next slide of data set and the method. Yeah, it's this one. As in the geomatics, most of the time we use remote sensing data. And we compare those data with in situ. There I have collected in situ ground water storage data in that area of West Africa, especially in the basin of Lake Chad. These also, next one. These also were some more method I have used, like methodology. I have used the MATLAB and the ArcGIS in the MV. We have many softwares that we use, but for this analysis where I have used principal component analysis, I have used algorithms coding in MATLAB. And least square method to get some result for my analysis. Yeah, in deep you can look at my paper. And we move to the result and the discussion. For the result and the discussion here, I was started by seeing how the surface water storage variation is in the Lake Chad Basin. And as you can see there, the surface water storage seems to be insignificant in that area. As you see there, I have used the empirical orthogonal functions and the principal component analysis. Most of you know that empirical orthogonal function and the principal component analysis, they are used to reduce the dimension of a data set. If you have a large data set, you try to minimize them to the dimension, but without affecting the quality. It's why I have used the principal component analysis to decompose surface water storage. Surface water storage seems to be insignificant. If you look, it's green, means it's zero in the West Africa, in that basin. It's a desert. It's in a desert. It's why they don't have surface water storage. It seems to be significant. We will see down that in the conclusion. Groundwater storage is the most used in that part. Here I was analyzing soil moisture storage. You see soil moisture storage. It's if you look at the first figure showing us the spatial patterns. Here I have spatial patterns and the temporal patterns. You know the difference is the spatial patterns. They show us how the data are distributed in this area, especially on a map. And the surface water storage there, it's significant. Means underground water, it is variable there. And for principal component analysis, PC, principal component pattern, it is showing us the variation over time. For the second one. You move to the next one to see the total water storage. The composition of total water storage. Total water storage is equal to groundwater plus surface water storage plus soil moisture. This is very significant in that part. It's in the southern part of the Lake Chad. And the temporal patterns, it is also 80.9%. It is also there significant. But if you continue with the model, water gap hydrological model, this model I have seen that to performing well in this area. It's why for my future research, I want to use this model in our East African Great Lakes because my research interest is about water resources. I have a proposal for using this model. It was not performing well. And we continue to the result. This is like validation. I wanted to validate my data with in situ groundwater storage data. And I have seen that the reconstructed groundwater resources was performing well with in situ data that I've got by doing digitalization. I have digitalized my data. By using statistical indices, statistical methods, correlation coefficient, standard deviation, and NCE, I have seen that there is an improvement between the reconstructed total water storage budget and the groundwater reconstructed, which is shown by that percentage of number. We can conclude that the reconstructed groundwater storage performed well in that part of West Africa. To conclude, I have seen that the principal component analysis, the composition of each component of total water storage revealed that the Lake Chad Basin is controlled by subsurface water, which is different from East Africa. In East Africa, we have lakes with surface water, like Lake Kivu. But there, in West Africa, they depend on this water underground. For also checking where, I was evaluating where is groundwater in the most quantity. I have seen that the southern part of Lake Chad Basin, it's where there is water. This lake is the Ando Lake. It means it has only outlet. It doesn't have inlet water. The water is coming from that lake, goes out. It's why it's easy for this lake, if there is bad management, it's easy to be dry. Some recommendations, I have used altimetry measuring, which is difficult to get results. For my next research, I want to use the DEM, digital elevation models, to extract delineation of surface area. It's the good method that can help me for my future research. And this study was conducted on a single one lake, as I told you. I want for my future research to conduct my study for more than one lake, like our lakes in East African parts. I think this is the end of my presentation. I thank you all for your attention.
Let's clap for Mutimuche. She used her time well. So if you have any question, I think I can now go this side because the other time I was in the other side. Anyone from this side who has questions?
Thank you so much for good presentation. I have one question for you. There's at some point you said you have used digitalization of data. So I'm lost about that point. Can you explain to me that what you wanted to mean? Thanks.
Yeah, for getting in situ data, we have different methods that we can use. You can go to the field to get in situ data by yourself. In our field of geomatics, we can use surveying instruments like a DGPS, like a total station, and so on. But if it's not possible, you see, I was in China doing my master's, and in the West Africa, it's in Africa, and I was not having the way of going there. I did the literature review. Means I read other authors who published about this. I have used an application for digitalization, to digitize. But I have mentioned that you can digitize if you have a graph showing how someone did a variation. If you have a figure or a graph of done by another author, you can use that application, that software, to digitize the data that he or she have used. If you read my paper, you can see. It means that the person, that the author, was using those in situ data or ground data in the lake from some institution there in Chad. You can digitize. It's also acceptable to use that application. doing digitalization. I will show you. Don't worry, I'll show you how to.
Any other question?
Thank you very much.
Okay.
First of all, I would like to appreciate your presentation.
Thank you.
You did a nice job. So my question is, I would like you to just tell me for how long period have you collected those data? Because you told us that from your satellite data, it have been revealed that the boundary of the Chad have been changed. So I would like to know from which year that have been changed. Thank you.
It means the time period of where I collected my data from which period to which period. Yeah. My study was conducted for 15 years. I collected my data from satellite images. I took the time from 2002 and 2014. Yeah, 2014. And I have used different satellites, like Landsat. To get satellite imagery, I have used Landsat 8 and 7. And to get satellite gravimetry data, I have used the GRACE. And the altimetry also, yes. And in that period, it was 15 years of period.
So it means you use secondary data, not your own data.
I have used secondary data.
Okay.
Yes.
I think it's secondary data, not her own, because 15 years you can't take a long time like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for your good presentation and a good research. I have a question. The methodology you are using, is it possible to extend this methodology to other regions which are facing similar challenges of hydrological problems?
Yes. Yeah, it's possible, and it's what I'm planning to do. But this time I was working in West Africa. I wanted to apply also this methodology in the East African Great Lakes to see about this Lake Victoria, Kivu, Tanganyika, yes, those lakes. I'm planning for this for my future research. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mutike.
Yeah. Thank you.
Let's clap for her. I think she maintained her time. She used her time well. Others also will do the same. So the next presenter will be Mukaru Bwiro. She's going to present her topic entitled Mapping Water Quality Parameters Using Landsat and Mass Spectra Imagery, Case Study of Rwanda Water Bodies. Welcome, Mukaru Bwiro. She's not here. We can take another next one. She's online. Okay. You're welcome. Maybe if you are not ready, you can. She's ready. Okay. You can take her again. No. Make sure you use 12 minutes presentation and 3 minutes will be questions.
Everyone, my name is Jean. I'm based at Leeds University. Today, I will be sharing with you how I mapped water quality parameters in our Rwanda.
Mukaru Bwiro, you can increase the voice. We can't hear you. Make sure you are a speaker. Maybe. Yes.
It's the most fundamental natural resource that sustain our life. And its quality is crucial for sustainable development. Water quality is a measure of the suitability of water for a particular use based on selected physical, chemical, and biological characteristics. Water normally contributes to economic growth and development. The picture on the right side of my slide is showing us the importance of water, how we use water in all our life. However, the quality and the quantity of water are nowadays Rwandan water bodies using remote sensing techniques. Water is the most fundamental natural resource that sustains our life, and its quality is crucial for sustainable development. Water quality is a measure of the suitability of water for a particular use based on selected physical, chemical, and biological characteristics. Water normally contributes to economic growth and development. The picture on the right side of my slide is showing us the importance of water, how we use water in all our life. However, the quality and the quantity of water are nowadays threatened by pollution from both point and non-point sources. Among the point sources, we have industrial discharges. Industrial discharges are problematic everywhere. We have poor sanitation practices. We have domestic sewage everywhere that goes into water bodies. We have disposal of solid waste. This is a huge problem. We have the release of liquid from fuels. Among non-point sources, we have agriculture runoff. We have urban runoff and erosion. And these three non-point sources are the main threats of water quality in Rwandan water bodies. To monitor water worldwide, we use a field survey through which we collect samples from selected location in one water body. And then we take those samples in the lab for further test or further analysis and analyze them using analytical method. Although this method can give us the answer, can provide the measures of water quality in a specific water body, but it has its own drawbacks, such as time-consuming, labor-intensive. An example of it's this picture on the right side of my slide shows how we collect water and how we start analyzing them. Imagine if you have 1,000 samples that you collected in one river or in one lake. How long time it will take you to analyze all those samples. The disadvantage of this system is like water is not really monitored seamlessly. It always needs a human intervention. That's why researchers thought on using remote sensing techniques, because remote sensing techniques are able to monitor water quality parameters at large scale. They provide accurate measurement in more water bodies. They determine spatial variability of water quality parameters. They are able to identify temporal trends and provide information on water quality parameters in remote areas, in water bodies which are not accessible. Rwanda, as other African countries, hasn't yet embraced the use of remote sensing, while this method is the only way of getting the accurate information on water quality parameters in certain water bodies. Thus, the aim of our study was to determine the spatial distribution of water turbidity, nitrogen, phosphorus, water temperature as the key water parameters using Landsat 8 images. To achieve our aim, we conducted both field survey before analyzing images. Myself, I visited 4 rivers and 2 lakes. I visited Mukungwa, in which I took samples at 10 locations. In Nyabarongo, Akanyaru, and Akagera, I took samples at 15 locations. In Lake Rwel, I took samples at 10 locations. In Lake Hago, the lake found in Akagera National Park, I took also 10. I took samples at 10 locations. This was me when I was taking turbidity, when I was measuring turbidity using search disk in the Mukungwa River. Then we analyzed our images. After acquiring our images, I corrected my images in order to remove the errors that occurred when satellite was taking image by removing, by doing what we call atmospheric collection and geometric collection. After that, I put together my images using the NVI software. And then after that, I masked my image using a shapefile of Rwandan water system. The reason behind of masking the image is just to remove other biodiversity, other things in water, so that I can only stay with water. And then after that, I developed the regression models using Python, which helped me to get my maps. So our models were based on use of all bands, band ratio, and video bands. In dry season, we compared both dry season and wet season, because they wanted to see when do we have a lot of when we have high nitrogen, high phosphorus, high turbidity, and high temperature. So in dry season, you can see that we got nitrogen using all bands. However, in wet season, we got nitrogen using individual band 5. Phosphorus was obtained using band ratio in both seasons. Temperature was obtained using all bands, and turbidity also was obtained using all bands. As you can see, in dry season, in August, we don't have too much nitrogen. However, nitrogen increased during rainy season, especially at the edge of rivers, at the edge of lakes, and also in the wetlands, in wetland where the rivers pass. And then you can see that our highest level during rainy season of nitrogen. Highest level of nitrogen is 8.86 milligram per liter, and this is too much. The lowest is 0.15 milligram per liter. Phosphorus also is not too much during dry season, but it increases during rainy season. The highest is 1.54 milligram per liter, and the highest, the highest is found at the edge of water bodies, except in Lake Hago, where we can see that even in the middle of the lake, phosphorus is too high. Temperature also increases in rainy season compared to dry season. The highest temperature recorded was 28.3 degrees Celsius. The water temperature, this water temperature also is too high. It may affect other biodiversity in water bodies. The highest turbidity was recorded also in wet season. The highest is 2,500 NTU. This is too high turbidity level. My message to take home is the level of all investigated water parameters increased in rainy season compared to dry season. Turbidity showed the most dramatic seasonal variation. The three main rivers had the higher turbidity and nitrogen phosphorus level compared to the lakes. The longest Rwandan river, Akagera, is more turbid and has a lot of nutrients in both in rainy season compared to other rivers. Our techniques, satellite images, was able to offer a cost-effective tool. It was able to provide, was able to assess our quality parameters and their spatial distribution. Remote sensing techniques offer a more economic and comprehensive alternative to traditional field survey, allowing for simultaneous assessment of multiple water bodies. As I showed in my previous slides, you can see that I was able to map to determine water parameters in four rivers and different lakes. While with field survey, I could not do that unless it would take me more years to do that. Landsat images can significantly contribute to sustainable water resource management and support Rwanda's development goals in terms of management of water resources. To achieve good monitoring of water resources in Rwanda, policymakers, research institutions, and Rwanda natural resource management should consider the use of remote sensing techniques when assessing water quality in the country. I think University of Witwatersrand, government, Minister of Agriculture, Minister of Education, Minister of Natural Resources, for allowing me to conduct research in the natural resources. Center Invasion Biology for funding my project. Thank Thank you for listening to me.
Rugwiro. I think it's time for questions. Anyone with a question in a room or online? Anyone online with a question or in a room? No question? Okay.
Yes, thank you so much for the extensive research and field work. So, but it's a general question for all the other researchers. How do we connect the research that is being done and the impact it's going to help or the problem that it's going to solve practically in the country, be it DRC for mpox, be it the satellites, I think the previous presenter, but also with the body masses, the research that has been presented now. Connect the research and the impact it's going to, or the problem that it's going to solve. Thank you.
Karugro, if you had, maybe you can answer the question. I think she's online. She's not.
Okay. Can you hear me at least now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. The question is, okay, she want to know how we can collaborate, how can connect research funding and impact. I think it's easy as women, it's easy for us to put together our work and we apply for fundings. Yeah, that's how I think that we can do it. And as RAWISE, we always put our proposal together, we always put our ideas together, and
I think Mukarugiro didn't hear the question. Let's just.
Oh, okay. Yes. How the research fundings and how can we connect research fundings and impact? Okay, now I understand the question.
No, 1 second. So I want to understand, so the results of the research, how are we going to use them to solve practical problems on the ground?
Oh, okay, now I understand you.
It's like impact of the research she has done.
Okay. Yes, as a researcher, I found the way we can monitor water quality parameters in our lakes and our rivers. So I think what we can do as researchers is just we show the problem and we show how we can resolve that problem. So I think what we can do is to do more research so that we can encourage
I think you didn't hear the question, Mukarugwiro. Arimo kubaza ese ibyo wakuye kuri tere ibyo wakuyemo bizagirira iki akamaro abanyarwanda muri rusange. Ese wabihuza gute n'ibyakozwe n'ibyo bizakorwa wenda mbere. Ni impact ya research wakoze kuri society. Okay. If you found something in your research, what do you think that research will contribute to the society in general?
Okay, my research, like I'm telling you, was just to show the method that we can use to monitor our quality parameters. Myself as a researcher, I'm not able to control the pollution unless policymakers and the government put together, policymakers and other stakeholders put together all those measures so that we can control the pollution of our water bodies. Myself as a researcher, I can't do anything unless all the stakeholders put together ideas based on what I have found. That's how I understand.
Hope she answers your question somehow. Okay, it's fine. I think maybe she will contact you if she needs to understand more about that. So, any question in the room? No one? Yeah, I think maybe at the end of the session we have to, because sometimes we do research and we don't think what the impact will have to the society. So when you are doing research, make sure you check what are the impact of my research I'm going to do. Ntabwo gukoresha amafaranga gusa kugira ngo publishing. Sometimes
no,
you just think,
I can defend that, ma'am.
no, it's not like that. What she wanted to understand is like impact of your research to the society. So maybe she didn't get what you answered.
Okay, it's okay. But you know, there are researchers that there are some fundings that if we don't have support from stakeholders, we can't have impact on the society.
No.
That's what I want to tell you.
You don't understand. Okay, let's just continue for another session.
Okay, thank you.
So I think maybe from your research, what I think, even though I'm not in the part of environmental and water, I think you mentioned something about water pollution.
Yes.
And policymakers to maintain water erosion, water pollution from the environment. Sometimes we might be pouring some waste to the environment. So maybe she will contact you later. Let's go to the next presenter, Neon Heze.
Thank you.
Are you around, Neon Heze? Online? Neon Heze, she's not here. Maybe you can go to the next to save time. We go to Ishimwe. She's going to present her topic entitled AI Powered Empowerment, Advancing Gender Equality and Inclusive Innovation for Women in STEM in Rwanda. She's a student, so I think she's a good innovator to RAWISE member. So make sure you use 12 minutes presentation and 3 minutes questions. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Greetings to you all. My name is Gloria Ishimwe. I'm a student at University of Rwanda, Gikondo campus, pursuing my bachelor's in science of applied statistics. I'm going to present about utilizing artificial intelligence-powered collaborative networks to overcome gender disparities in STEM. A viewpoint from Rwanda. The fact is that, did you know that in Rwanda, women are likely less to pursue in STEM career, not because that we are not able, but it's because we lack, we have the barriers like societal stereotypes and limited access to resources. And the purpose of my study is to demonstrate how AI-powered networks can bridge gender gaps in STEM, drawing from Rwanda innovation ecosystem. The problem is gender disparities in STEM. Like earlier example, you can see that here we are only having the cameraman. The next slide, please. We are only having the cameramans. We are not even having the women who are working as technicians. We still have a problem. We still have gender gaps in the technology. So I have got this topic to see how we can use AI, collaborative power, to bridge these gender gaps. The solution I have seen is that we may use AI-powered solutions by enhancing STEM self-belief. Like personalized AI learning and AI mentorships, gamified learning, and also we may encourage interest in STEM fields, like career guidance tools. For example, me, I'm still a student. I have come here. I'm being inspired by these PhD holders and others. Another thing is that virtual STEM workshops. Through workshops with the young youth, we will be inspired to pursue STEM careers. Also, challenging gender stereotypes, like using bias-free materials, educational chat box, even like education chat box will produce real-time advocacy for STEAM careers, even community campaigns. For example, like this RAWISE symposium, we were invited there. We are going to be motivated through the presentations of these PhD holders and the master's holders. I may just like a request that you may be improving the times we are having this symposium. For example, if it is being done once in a year, maybe you may increase and you do like twice in a year, so as to encourage us as young students to pursue career in STEM. Another thing is enhancing access and equity, like language and technical tools. Sometimes language is like a barrier, and technical tools. As I have said, we women, we are sometimes fearing ourselves to pursue in technical activities. As you can see, as I have said, we are having cameramans only. We are not having women who are taking our photos. Another thing is affordable AI tutoring. For example, we are having the tutorials on YouTube. We must be inspired to be watching those tutorials so that we may be familiar with the artificial intelligence. And through this, we will be able to bridge the gender gaps in technology nowadays. Another thing is collaborative platforms. Normalize gender diversity by fostering group STEAM projects. For example, here we are presenting individually. For example, for the next symposium, you may be using the group's presentation. For example, saying that we are going to be taking 4 people to work on one topic. Through doing in groups, we will be inspired by our group mates and we will be motivated. Another thing I have seen that we can use through AI to enhance this is to promote ethical AI development by inclusive teams, as I have been saying, and gender inclusive policies like advocate for ethical AI practices. Through this, we will be requiring the role of parents and teachers and the education as a whole. Because we as parents at home, we are the ones who are firstly inspiring our children for the careers they choose. Teachers must be trained to use gender-sensitive approaches in STEM education. We have had some teachers whom were saying in schools, for example, were saying that maybe you are a girl, you can't go to study like engineering or those mechanical courses. That if you are a girl, you have to be in tourism or those courses which seems like being too simple. Even parents may be taught that AI tools for raising awareness about STEM opportunities for girls. For example, they are at home. The parents is going to buy those those tools that children are using in praying. If a mother is having a boy child, he seems to buy those things like cars, motorcycles, and if she is a girl, he buys those let me say, ibipupe. I'm forgetting how they call it in English. But the parents should be taught that all children are able. We are able, we can pursue any career. As a conclusion, AI-powered collaborative networks are key to breaking gender barriers in STEM by promoting inclusivity, challenging stereotypes, and enhancing access. And a call to action, I can say that together, let's harness the potential of AI to ensure equal opportunities in STEM for all. Thank you. That's my presentation.
Thank you so much, Ishimwe. She used her time well. I think it's time for questions. Anyone with a question in our room or online?
Yeah, so mine is not a question, but comment. First of all, I would like to thank Ishimwe Gloria for the good presentation. I love her confidence in making this presentation. So keep it up, and I know you're going to learn more from your elder sisters here. And in the future, I think you'll become a very good researcher. So what I can say is that looking at the presentation you've made, maybe I can't say it's research, maybe it's maybe strategies on how to increase the number of women in STEM, but I can't say it's a research because there is no abstract, there is no methodology, there is no results, there is no what. But then for me, what I'm looking at is your confidence and even being able to stand in front of women here to make your presentation. And I think others are going to learn from you, especially the young girls who are here. They're going to learn from you. I love your confidence, and I would like to encourage you to continue, and yeah, you'll become a very good researcher. So I can see a great future in front of you. Thank you.
Thank you for your compliment.
Thank you, Jennifer. Anyone in our room? No more question? Thank you, Ishimwe. So let's call another presenter. So let's call the next presenter. She's called Nyirahabimana, but she's not available. Another person is going to present for her. She's called Aline Dorimana. Her title is Factors Contributing to High Dropout Rates Among Secondary School Girls in Rwanda, and Proposed Way Forward, a case study of Eastern Province. Welcome, Aline. Is she in the room or online? Oh, sorry. Okay, let's call the next person. Maybe she is just around here. She'll come back in a few minutes. So let's call Twizerimana. She's going to present her title entitled A Combined Effect of Different Sowing Methods and Seeds Rates on Quality Futures of Yield of Winter Wheat. Welcome. You have 12 minutes presentation, and are you a student or? Okay, she's a master holder. So you are a student.
Hi. As they said, I'm Twizerimana Angelique. I'm Twizerimana Angelique, a crop scientist, and I'm going to present to you the research I have done on my master's, which is called The Combined Effect of Different Sowing Method and Seed Rate on Quality Features and Yield of Winter Wheat. As we all know, wheat is a major staple food crop worldwide. And 28% of world edible foods, dry matter, are from wheat. And 60% of daily calories are provided by wheat in developing countries. And as we all know, by 2050, the world will be needing, will be doubling the food need. So, the food need will be doubled, which will be added to the high quality food which is needed across the world. As we all know, farmers are very important in this aspect. Seed density is one of the major factors determining the ability of crop to capture resources. So optimum seed density vary greatly between areas and according to different climatic conditions. To achieve desirable yield, farmers not only need optimum seed rate, but also suitable sowing method should be put into consideration. So drilling is one of type of sowing method which is suitable in most of the conditions. Drilling is also a advisable sowing method which is involving pressing the seeds at a uniform depth. New planting pattern, which is called wide precise sowing, which changes the seed which changes from the normal sowing method of planting all seed in a line. This method separates seed grain from each other, and it is believed to increase wheat yield. The cause of high yield in this planting method is not well researched. Moreover, a quite number of researches has been done on seed rate, how seed rate impacts yield, but few has been done on how seed rate affect the quality of grain. So my research will be to determine the effect of this wide precise sowing on different seed rate, how that sowing method affects yield and yield traits. How the grain yield differences are among these three types of sowing method. The effect of this wide precise sowing method on different seed rate, how all those two interacted affect the quality of the grains. So, due to those problems, those research questions, a research was done in an experimental station in Northwest Agricultural Forest University in 2 cropping seasons, as you can see on the slides. Before that, chemical properties were measured, as you can see on the slides. The experiment used spirit plot design with 3 replications. And 3 sowing methods, as I was been saying, they were used. 4 sowing rates also were being used, as you can see on the slide. And 2 years of experimental data were analyzed by analysis of variance.
Can you check what we are seeing there, if it's the right slide?
Yes, using SPSS. Now, okay, moving to the next slide. Yes, moving to the next slide. No, come back. Yes, thank you. Different parameters were measured, and at the physiological maturity, wheat plants were harvested at 3 meters squared. After harvesting, threshing and weighing the grains, the harvest was converted to the grain yield per kilogram, a kilogram per hectare. 1,000 kernel weight was also determined using the same electronic scale. Grain yield, next slide. Grain yield, total protein content was also determined using KDAR procedures. Grain protein fractions also were extracted using sequential extraction method by that author. Next, amylose and amylopectin content were determined using a coupled spectrometer SC And the total of both was designated as the total starch content. And wheat, gluten, test weight, and xeren sedimentation, those are the parameters I measured, were measured using Infratech grain analyzer. Next, as you can see, as we'll be moving fast in the next slides, you can see those 3 sowing methods I used. They are self-explanatory on the picture or on the slide. Next, meteorological data during the 2 cropping season also were measured. And they will be having an effect in my results and discussion, so keep that in mind. So as we are moving to the next slide, which are the results, analysis of variance for wheat yield and quality parameters affected by year, sowing method, and seedlet. As you can see on the table, there are different parameters measured. We are going to focus on source of variation, which is year, sowing method, and seed rate. If any other person is interested in other source of variations, maybe he will be reading the whole paper. As we can see, for the year affected most of the measured parameters in the table, except for plant height, which was not affected. Sowing method did not have a significant effect on those parameters, except for 1,000 kernel weight and spike number per meter squared. And we'll be analyzing why those one had a significant effect. Seed rate also affected significantly most of the parameters, except for the 1,000 kernel weight. Moving next, as you can see on the table, 1,000 kernel weight, grain yield, spike per meter squared, kernel per spike. Those are the parameters I chose to put in the table so that we can discuss more about that. 1,000 kernel weight was affected significantly by 2 cropping, by the sowing method. As you can see, 1,000 kernel weight was affected in the table. In the first cropping season, dibbling, as we all know, as I showed before, dibbling as a sowing method affected significantly lower the 1,000 kernel weight. Moving to the next. As we can see on the diagram, grain yield and grain yield for the first year, grain yield for the second year, they are well indicated. Seed rate affected significantly the yield in the second season. Maybe I'll be explaining that later, why that kind of significance effect didn't happen on the first year. Highest grain yield was observed in the second year, and I will be explaining on that as well. Moving to the next. Total protein, as we can see, it's very clear. Total protein in the first year and in the second year there is a negative correlation between the seedlet and total protein. As the seedlet increased, the total protein, as we can see on the figure, decreased. Yes, moving to the other parameters, total starch, amylose, and amylopectin. Starch and its composition showed an inconsistent trend on both cropping seasons, but a decrease at higher seed rate was noted. We'll be explaining on that later as well. Total starch of the second season was affected significantly by sowing method, seed rate, and the interaction of the two, as you can see indicated on the table. Moving to the next part of discussion, as I have been saying previously in the meteorological data, I told you to pay a little bit attention to the meteorological data. The meteorological data of the first year differed from the meteorological data of the second year, which made a huge impact in the measured parameters. The high rainfall at the elongation stage of the first season caused the reaching of basal fertilizers and waterlogging at some extent, which resulted in poor performance of the first season in the most of measured parameters. Grain yield increase depended on the number of factors, which included the number of spike per meter squared, which generally increased as the seed rate increased, as I have shown previously in the tables. Wide precise sowing, remember in the research questions, I was asking myself, as I have seen in the literature review, that this kind of sowing, which is wide precise sowing, is expected to increase the yield, is expected to increase the grain yield. In my research question, it was there. Then in my discussion, I have seen that the wide precise sowing did not considerably improve the yield compared to other sowing method I was using. Grain yield generally increased with the crop density, not necessarily the sowing method. Debring had significantly lowered the 1,000 kernel weight, mostly because the seed were placed in the hole and covered with nearby soil, resulting in a non-uniform distribution, which resulted in poor growth of the seeds. Declining of the total protein as with the increase in seed rate was due to the competition of available resources. In conclusion, therefore, in the course of 2 years, the experimental results showed that three sowing methods used produced statistically similar results in the main parameters. For the protein, starch, and grain yield, they have different optimum seed rates, and the high grain yield expected in wide precise sowing was not observed. For the recommendation part, depending on the use of wheat, whether we want high protein, starch, or any other thing, different seed rates should be considered depending on the end use of the wheat. And then further studies are also recommended using different or a wide range of varieties with different genetic diversity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Twizerimana. You used your time well. I think I have a simple question. Where did you do your research? Is it in Rwanda or in China? So did you try to see the comparison in Africa? Did you read any information about East Africa, Africa in general?
Okay, thank you for the question. I've been trying to read the information mainly of our country. I have seen that we use more of debring method compared to other two sowing methods. Thank you.
Is there any difference?
We use mostly one of the three methods I used. Other two, we are not using them much.
Okay. Thank you so much. Any other question in the room?
Thank you for your presentation. It will be a continuation from what you asked. So you said we use one method of the other method you have explored. So according to you, are we using the effective method, or do you think we should adopt one of the methods from your experiment?
Thank you. That's a very good question. That's why we go to study abroad, so that we can see if there is any knowledge we can import and bring it back home. So I have been working with farmers. Most of the method we use, it's favorable, but it can't be cross-cutting in all geographical areas. It's good to have other options, and we try them. And if they are more favorable in in some of the regions, we adopt them.
Any other question? No question? Thank you so much, Twizerimana, for your nice presentation. So let's call another presenter. I think I called Nionheze. She was not here, and then I think she came back. Nionheze, you're welcome. Oh, it's the first one. Okay. Is Aline who is going to present on behalf of Nyirahabimana. So the title is Factors. So her title is Factors Contributing to High Dropout Rates Among Secondary School Girls in Rwanda and the Proposed Way Forward, a case study in Eastern Province of, I think, Rwanda. Okay, you're welcome. Used 12 minutes presentation and 3 minutes questions. Thank you. Sorry, there are some technical issues. If you're not ready, I think she can present. You will come back later. Nyoneze is around. Go on. I think
we. I am saying good evening. We. You
so
say
she's
wa.
called Nyoneze.
Yeah.
I think I called her. She was not here. Now she came. So after you, I think Aline will follow you.
Yeah, I'm just like waving. Hi, everyone.
Okay, thank you so much.
I'm Clementine Nyoneze. I graduated in civil engineering construction, and we made a research on production of hollow cement block by using partial replacement as sawdust. We all know sawdust are those waste materials from the wood ashes. As an introduction, we try to make a sample by arranging type per type. We made 2 types per percentage. We made the percentage 0%, 2%, 4%, up to 6%. So as an introduction, we all know cement blocks are very heavy and it's not easy to carry them. So we find the solution that can help us to make a cement block which are very lighter and cost effective. The main objective of the research was to produce sawdust cement block which are eco-friendly, cost-effective, and containing sawdust as waste recycling for our environment. And the specific objectives was to select suitable sawdust to fit the desired properties. We went to Gachinjiro, and then we collected a sawdust according to the desired properties we wanted to mix with the we know the ratio of making a cement block. Also, our specific objective, the second one was to select suitable clean sand and the sand size. We made a sieve. We all know when we want to classify the sand, we do sieve analysis. So we use sieve analysis by using millimeter unit, and it all passed. There was no retained sand. So we used a small unit of sand. And also the third one was to make a sawdust cement hollow block, and then we cure them after making them so that it can regain strength, so that we can compare the normal cement block with our research. We did that. We are going to see in the methodology. Also, the last specific objective was to check suitability of the block by conducting different tests on a produced block. So we did the absorption test and the compressive test and the density test. Next. Problem statement, as I said in introduction, cement blocks have high weight. We all know when we want to to build the high skyscrapers, the building, we cannot use heavy materials when we want, like, for example, when we want a tower of 15 levels, we cannot use cement block on the, like when we want a tall building or tall structures, because the weight of it cannot make it easy. That's why we use glasses when we want to build a high like tall structures. So that's the problem. We cannot use cement blocks when we want tall buildings because of its density. Also, the materials used to make cement blocks are very expensive. We all know that to obtain one cement block, now it can cost 1,000 Rwandan francs, and then if you multiply to make a block, it's very expensive when you want a structure by using these cement blocks. So also, the excessive extraction of sand causes degradation of rivers. According to the picture there, we see that the people who reside in the place where there is a sand, people always go there to extract sand, which causes degradation. That's also the problem. And also, burning of sawdust destroy our environment. If we recycle them in our project, this is going to be a benefit to us. Research materials and the methodology. We did collection of sawdust and preparation. As I said, we went to Gachinjiro and we collected a sawdust, and then we dried it so that it can regain the properties that we wanted. And the second, we did the preparation of sand and cement type to be used. We bought a sand. We call it the one we used from Muhanga. I don't remember the name, but in Kinyarwanda, they call it, like the name is not coming, but we collected the sand from Muhanga, and then cement type to be used. That's the cement type that we wanted. We used 12 grade. Next. Yeah, that is the pictures where we were mixing preparation of mortar, and then we used the machine that we found at Miduha to produce that blocks by mixing them homogeneously. Hello? Okay. Okay. Here we are on the test we made. I said we made the sieve analysis test, and then they all passed in the 19 millimeter sieve as it is tested. Also, we made the block density test so that we can measure, is this the block that we are producing lighter than the block that were usually on the market? So we made the block density so that we can conclude. And also, I said we made according to the type. We did 6 types, and then we classified them in percentages. Each percentage had 2 samples so that we can know whether, and we made 2 samples so that we make, when we use we made a cement block when there is no sawdust. We called it 0%. And then we made second type when we mixed a few sawdust. We made another type when we mixed a whole sawdust, so that we can conclude and make a clear report. Here, these are the results. You can go back so that we can know. Okay. These are the machine that we used. We used the machine from URA CST. That is the compression test. You know, there is a force applied to the block so that we know, is this block, is it to black? That's why we did compressive test. So let's go to the results so that we can know, is this block suitable to use or not. Go to the results. Yeah, sieve analysis. Back. Yeah. Aggregate use project or passed through 19 millimeter sieve size as required by Rwandan standards. I say this, but this is also to show that if our sand we used or passed according to the Rwandan standard, it's all passed. This was one result. Next. And then for the block density, we concluded by saying the sawdust cement hollow block density decreases as the sawdust cement increases. So this is our achievement also. Next. Because, because these are the types. If you see 0%, 2%, 4%, 5%, 10%, this is what I was trying to explain. 0% has two types. Also 2% has two types. So we made according to the sawdust, the amount of sawdust we increased, that's why we arranged those percentages. And also for the absorption test, the maximum water absorption for cement blocks shouldn't exceed above 20% according to the requirements that are presented, established by Rwandan standard below. Here we refer to we went to RSB to read all the requirements so that we can conclude by saying that our blocks 0% and 2% succeeded, but as we increase sawdust, that's how the block is going to gain more amount of water. So for the rest of the types, like 10%, 5% failed, but for the 0% and 2% and 4% passed. Next. For the compressive strength, the research made by CBA, Concrete Block Association, in accordance with British standard, found that blocks are available in a compressive strength from 2.9 to 40. That is called solid. And 2.9 to 22.5 are called the hollow block. That's why we found our block should be hollow. It cannot be solid, so that it can gain all the strength that we needed. Conclusion and recommendation. The results show that addition of sawdust to cement block make it lighter. We succeeded. And then for the water absorption, it increased by adding sawdust, as 10% replacement of sand have greater absorption than least. So it means that we can increase, we can put a little amount of sawdust, but not we cannot make a whole cement block sawdust. And the last one, the use of sawdust will provide the new material in a block production, which will reduce dependence on natural resources. As we saw, if we use sand and then we use amount of sawdust, it's going to make available of sand, and then we are not going to degrade our environment. Also, we recommend further researches because this was not enough, so we want to continue our research so that we can have more information about it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nionheze. Please just stand there, wait for questions. Nionheze? Yes. Just stand there. Any question from the room or online?
Thank you. I'm Clementine Moza. For me, I want, if you have sample of that block, you can show us.
Sample here?
I don't have photo for that sample.
Here I don't have sample.
She meant if you had maybe some pictures in your presentation, it could be good
there are. Maybe someone who is sliding can help us.
Okay, any question from the room as we're waiting for the picture?
Thank you for your project. I saw you have tested density and water
Absorption.
retention. I want to ask, with the final product of the block, did you try to construct something minimal and to test like how it is going to behave when it is being used as, like in construction? You know how it's going to behave?
Yeah, thank you very much. As I said, this was like the research we made as our final year project. So we did the prototype, but we didn't execute. You're asking whether we have tried to construct something so that we can, yeah, but we didn't. But if we continue like executing the project, we can also do it, and then we do piloting, something like that.
I have just a simple question.
Yes.
Is there any house which have been built using this cement you have tested?
Yeah, there are some researches, but not in Rwanda. That's where we did our literature review. There are many print of it. They made a research. They did it by using other partial replacement as sawdust, but there is no house that was built in the like partial using cement sawdust hollow block.
Any question?
Okay, thank you for your nice presentation as a civil engineer. I have two questions. One is in your specific objectives, I have seen that the last one, you will check the suitability of the block. I want to know in your research, how did you check, which test did you use to check that suitability of the block? The second one is you did the experiment. In your experiment, you have some proportion. You take sawdust and you take cement. Which quantity did you take for cement to mix with sawdust? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Actually, that is the good question. The first one was on the last specific objective, like suitability. The test that showed that our block is suitable to be used. That is the question. So compressive strength was like our main test we did. And then it showed that there are 3 types of percentages that proportion, as you said. It's a proportion, but also we classify them according to the amount of sawdust that we added into the normal ratio we know. We use the 1:6. 1:6, 1 means 1 bag of cement, 6 means sand. 1 bag of cement didn't change, but sand also we didn't change, but we proportioned the amount of sawdust that we added. So we use this. We use the how can I call it? It's a balance. Umunzani wa Kinyarwanda. Yeah, and then we added according to the we know the ratio. I said the ratio that we used, the 1:6, and then we used 1:6:3, 1:6:2. Then we proportion the amount of sawdust. That's why we classify them 0% up to 10%. 0% no sawdust added. 10%, it was fully sawdust. Yes, that's how we did it.
Thank you so much. I think time is over. Thank you so much for your presentation, Nyonheze. Let me call our president, Dr. Churinyana Chantal. She has something to tell us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Actually, I wanted to recognize the presence of the DVC of UR, but he left because they called him urgently. As you can see the logo of UR. That is where RAWISE is hosted. So we got an honor to have him around. He was opening another meeting here, and then he decided to come and see what we are doing. I know now Chantal is around. Chantal, you got a good insight from him. And he congratulates you for a good job that you are doing. So I know that you are going to improve your work. Right.
Have you heard? I met the DVC when he was walking out of here. So he said he appreciates the work RAWISE is doing. Not just something like, but RAWISE. That's why they gave us a place. So we are based in a recognized university. Our work is fantastic. And not only in Rwanda, even beyond that. So even the youngsters should aim higher. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctors Frontier. So let's call the last presenter in the morning. And we took a long time. And sorry for that. So I think Aline, who is going to present on behalf of Nyirahabimana, you're welcome. Hope your PowerPoint is ready for presentation. Use 12 minutes presentation and the question will be, 3 minutes will be questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure for me to present to you this study that we conducted. It's just a team composed by Dr. Pascazi Nyirahabimana and others. Me who is speaking is Aline Dorimana. I'm a lecturer from the Ines Ruhengeri. Yes, and I'm going to take you through this presentation. I'm going to talk about the factors contributing to high dropout rates among secondary school girls in Rwanda and propose ways forward. So this was a case study conducted in eastern province of Rwanda. As you all know, dropout rates increased and it was alarming. That's why many intervention was actually conducted to stop students dropping out of school, specifically girls. But even if this was really a challenge, but Rwanda and even many countries in sub-Saharan Africa did a good job of bringing some intervention to see how they can retain girls in school. But still, the problem persists. So still, students, they always get out they always find a way out of school. So here, I want to talk about school dropout for girls and the reason why they drop out from school. And here we focused on Eastern Province because the study was showing that there is a high number of girls who are dropping out of school in that in that region of Rwanda. This also was conducted because there was some gaps
that yes, there are reasons why girls are dropping out of school, but there was a lack of context-specific research, like in Rwanda, specifically in East Africa, in the eastern province of Rwanda. Also, people could not understand very well the contributing factors. That's why we thought maybe it is very important for us to understand specific context why those girls continue to drop out of their schools. And also, there was also policy and practice gaps, because even though policies are set, but sometimes you need policy to be narrowed to the specific context of those girls. we were motivated by these dropout rates among secondary school girls in Rwanda, particularly in the eastern province of Rwanda. And we wanted actually to suggest or to find out a targeted recommendation for those girls in that region. And also we wanted to contribute to ongoing efforts to achieve gender equity and enhance education outcomes for girls. Our objectives, actually, we wanted to find out if there are specific factors contributing to girls' dropout in the eastern province of Rwanda, and also find out some strategies to mitigate those dropout rates. The methodology that we used for us to know the factors contributing to dropouts, we used descriptive survey design, and we collected the data from teachers, girls who are at risk of dropping out. For example, those girls who don't attend school regularly, and even their head teachers. In total, we had 114 people. We used also purposive sampling to focus on relevant cases, specifically to those girls who completely dropped out of school, to know their specific challenge. Data were collected using questionnaires, but also we conducted some semi-structured interview with open-ended question to understand deeply why those girls were out of school. Data that we collected were analyzed thematically, and we have used in vivo software to identify themes, and also descriptive analysis to visualize statistics of why those girls, the percentage. Some of the findings include that we find out that girls who are at risk of dropping out are those girls in senior 2 and senior 3. Those girls aged between 15 and 19 years of age. So they are likely dropping out of their school due to different reasons, including financial issues, including pregnancy, including also family issues, because they raised that there is parental conflicts. That's why sometimes they even leave their home, then they go just out to find out some money to live and so on. And many of these students, many of these girls, they even live with both parents. But because of the conflict, so they always, they find a way out of their homes because there is no peace at home. We also find out that girls, they are having family-related issues, including parents' mindsets, that there are still people in that region who have the mindset that
You know, if you are a girl, you don't need to study. So your diploma is a husband, for example. There are also family conflict, like uneducated parents, they also don't understand why their girls should go to school. Other girls, they drop out because they need to look for a job uh, to address their financial issues. They also, the alcoholism of parents. Then parents do not care about their children. They don't make really a follow-up for their children to stay to school. Orphanage, prostitutions, polygamy are also other reasons for why girls leave schools. We have also found some other school-related factors, including geographical distance and the school, because some girls, they don't attend regularly because the school is very far from their home. And specifically, those girls who have kids, it's a challenge for them because sometimes they have to move from their family and probably take the baby to another family, then go back to school, which is also a burden for them, and then they decide to drop out of the school. Those girls who are in remote areas, school in rural areas require length, so it is very far from their home to school. And also, another factor why they drop out include harassment by teachers and colleagues. Because when we were interviewing girls, those who dropped out, they really want their teachers to mentor them and maybe speak out their problem so that they get help. But once they don't get the help they need, they decide to leave the school. And also, weak administration leadership is another reason why they leave the school, because when these students, these girls do not get like a mentor to tell them about their sexual production health, then it's like they feel like they are alone, and finally they can get pregnant because they have limited knowledge about sexual reproduction health. Inadequate resources. Some of the girls, they lack good uniform. So it is easy for girls to get a new uniform, but in a bad way. So it's also another reason behind why they they drop out of their school. Poor leadership and lack of guidance and even counseling diminish also girls' motivation to stay to school. There are also some community-related factors, including forced marriage. In that region is that many girls, specifically those between 15 and 19, they are forced to get married. Another reason why they leave school, economic pressure and societal expectation that push girls into early marriage, prioritizing financial stability. Peer pressure is also another reason where around 40% of the girls that we asked, they raised the issue of peer pressure, while 32 mentioned the societal and the variation of education as a contributing factors, because they normally don't see why they should go to school. Parental attitudes. There is ignorance. Parents who view girls' education as a waste of resources are more likely to withdraw their daughters from school, as highlighted by their teachers. So now, there are also other individual factors for girls, specifically on distractions. girls are distracted, so that's why they also decide to leave the school, because on their way from the school, they meet so many distractions, sometimes prevent them to continue their schools. So now some of the proposed solutions to reduce the dropout rates, specifically in Eastern Province, include maybe a comprehensive approach for financial support, specifically for girls, to do some sensitization to parents to understand why girls education is very important. Also, to have guidance and mentorship at their school was also one of the mitigation. Intervention of local government was also again needed in that region. Motivation girls toward TVET and setting small projects so that they can now increase their financial stability. Educating about sexual reproduction and children's rights. Expose girls to female role models for inspirational talks, because they raised the issue that at their school sometimes there are not many women who are doing to act as their role models. So this can also be one of the solutions to help girls retain in school. Dialogue in family is needed, advocacy, collaboration between parents and the school leaders, and also grading girls like boys in national examination is also another key solution to retain girls in school, because they can now see that, yes, we are able, they can do it. So without taking too much time, we concluded that poverty, early pregnancy, and societal pressure, such as early marriage and peer influence, as the main contributor to girls' school dropouts. And we recommend that there should be a comprehensive approach involving financial aid, community awareness, and improve the school environment. It is very crucial to help girls stay in the school. Also, families should be engaged, and there should be a support system, such as guidance on sexual health to improve retention. These were like what we have found and the recommendation. And to conduct this research, we were supported by NCST. That's why we would like to acknowledge their support. The University of Rwanda, specifically College of Education, because they gave us the permission to conduct the study. Also, RAWISE supported us because sometimes they hosted us to be able to do a work related to this. And also other institutions, because they gave us time to work on this. Specifically my university, Nesi Ruhengeri, and also the Higher Education Council, because some members of this team are from Higher Education Council. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Aline, on behalf of Nyira Habimana. Any question in the room?
Thank you for the nice presentation. I do have 2 questions based on your presentation. The first one is, how did your study assess the relationship between socioeconomic status and the dropout rate? The second one, based on your finding, what could be the policy implication from your study? What do you recommend the policymakers? Thank you.
Let's take another question and then you can maybe answer two at once. Any question in the room or online?
Okay, thank you for the presentation. I would like to know if the study was specific just to see the challenges for only girls, and if not, I would like to know if maybe you compared the dropouts for the girls, maybe compared to the boys, to know what specifically maybe it's a challenge for the girls, maybe for if it is no, it cannot affect both of them. Another thing I would like to know, like among the challenges you have presented that contributed to the dropouts, I don't know if maybe you compare them to see which one is maybe strongest to know where possible to apply maybe the way of coming up with the solution to that. Thank you.
Maybe you can take two questions, I think. Can you answer those two?
Okay. Thank you very much, and thank you for the question. The first question was asking if we compared economic status and dropout rates. We didn't, because that was not the purpose of our study, but it can be included in further research. So after these findings, yes, we needed to also check, investigate economic status and also the dropout rates. Regarding recommendation on policymakers, we made them, and yes, policies are there, but they should be context specific. Like what the Northern Province needs, girls in the Northern Province needs is not the same with the girls' needs in the Eastern Province. For example, most of the girls in Eastern Province, they raised the issue that they need mentors, they need guidance, they need counseling in their schools to understand their health, because outside of their school environment, they meet people with the belief that girls should not really, there is no importance for girls to continue education. That is one. And also because of the issues in their families, they don't have whom to talk to. So it's like, what they really is like, they think that the most support they can get it from their school. So that we recommended that probably they have to look at the policy, and then the policy should be narrowed down depending on the specific need of the region. Dropout of girls and boys comparison. Yes, we made this because before we decide which school are we going to collect data from, we also collected information from DEOs in the district where we went. Then the DEOs were the one to give us the number of dropouts in those districts. That's why we decided to go for girls, because the dropout rates for girls was higher than that of boys. So that's why we were really interested to know why do in that Eastern Province, why do we have a high number of girls who drop out of their school? So we did that, and yes, if you want, we can share with you the paper, because this paper was actually, the data was collected in 2023. So now the paper is almost ready to be published. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Aline. Let's clap for Aline and all presenters who presented in the morning. We thank you so much for your presentation, and hope we gain a lot from the presentation. Before I end, maybe I give my microphone to Jennifer. I would like to apologize, first of all. I had some rumors around here. I apologize. I didn't meant this to hurt anyone during this session. I apologize. I think it happened when Mukarugiri was presenting, and Stella was asking some question. So I think when you are a moderator, you have to, sometimes the one who is presenting does not understand the question. So there are some who said that I laughed at Mukarugwiro. I didn't at all. I apologize from the deepest of my heart. It is my first time to be here. I don't have to quarrel anywhere with anyone here. I apologize. Sabimbabazi Mukarugwiro, I think she's online. I apologize. Even for those who are here in the room, online, I didn't mean to do this. Am I forgiven? First of all, I think Mukarugiro has to answer. And those, I think, who raised this up. I'm so sorry for this. When you are MC, no,
it's okay, and Anne-Marie, it's okay, and you did a good job, actually. It's her first time. Okay, you have to understand we are mentoring each other, and Jean, we apologize in the name of RAWISE. Thank you. And I take this opportunity to recognize the presence of Ministry of Infrastructure. The minister sent someone on his behalf because we invited them to participate in the symposium. So they value us. Jacques is here. She's the young doctor, and now she's, sorry, because you are she, now I'm calling you she. Sorry, Jacques. He's a Director General of, I don't remember the full thing.
Urbanization, Housing, and Human Settlement.
Talk to him. All right, thank you for honoring us.
Yeah, so thank you so much thank you so much to all the presenters. You really did amazing job. And you've received comments and some questions. I think these are going to help you to improve your research. So I would also like to thank the moderator for this session, Marie-Anne. She really did a great job. So it's her first time to moderate. I know when I approached her, asking her to moderate, she was like, am I really going to do it? So it's her first time to do it, and you can see she has really done an amazing job. So you can clap for her. Yes, so I will not repeat what the president has said. To whoever who maybe was not happy because of something, it happens in life. So we don't have to take everything serious. So sometimes, yeah, things happen. So we really apologize as RAWISE. Yeah, so next in the agenda, we have posters. I know some people are maybe hungry, so they thought the next thing is lunch, but we are going to have a session for posters. I promise you it's not going to take more than 35 minutes. So after 35 minutes, we will go for lunch. So we have the vouchers. So Lidivine is there. Lidivine, can you raise up your hand for people who don't know you? Lidivine is there. She will be giving vouchers that we will use for lunch. So she's going to show us where we are going for lunch. But before that, I would like the audience to pass behind there. We have posters. There are not many posters, so you can go to any poster. You can ask questions to the owners of the posters. Yeah, they will reply to your questions. So I would like to ask the poster owners to stand next to their posters, and then people will be coming to them. And then for the judges, we'll be moving one by one. But everyone, whoever is not a judge, you're free to go to any poster you're interested in and ask questions. So let's do this for only 35 minutes, not more than that. And then after that, we will go for lunch. Thank you so much.